Good evening, everyone. This is Robert. RJL Network presents in a special edition of Inside Pitch, or I should say Inside Pitch Advanced. The 1980 demo game is on the air. Good evening, everybody. It looks like my off season is once again coming to an end. Another 2 months off. And so another 2 months is coming off, and looks like we'll be getting back to some inside pitch baseball, or I should say inside pitch advanced baseball, for as we're ready to begin the 1980 season. This is the demo game. The demo game officially opens up the 1980 replay. It officially opens it up with opening day 1 week from tomorrow night. So this is where I go ahead and play a game of inside pitch, slow, steady. This is not a teaching game. I'm not here to teach the game. I'm here to show you what happens when dice is rolled. But for those of you who already know inside pitch, you already know how the game pretty much progresses, okay? You're rolling a pitcher card. If the play is resolved on the pitcher card, then you go to the batter card and such as. Inside pitch advanced, you guys pretty much already know the differences between inside pitch advanced and regular inside pitch. The cards are bigger. There is more things that happen in inside pitch advanced. Okay, there are no more pitcher hitting cards. They only now use their regular. They'll now use pitcher hit cards, generic hitting cards, which I actually agree with, which is fine. Inside pitch advanced, of course, has all of the players. You can get all the players. You can order it in certain ways, but you now get all of the players. Traded players are now on their own teams as well. Okay, so there's many ways. It is a much more nuanced game than regular inside pitch. For those of you, of course, remember, regular inside pitch is not going away. He is going to continue to make seasons for regular inside pitch. He will make inside pitch advanced seasons, probably one every maybe 6 to 8 weeks. He was able to get the 1980 season done, only pretty much official a week and a half ago was when 1980 was done. So it's taking him about a month and a half to get a season out. He is right now taking suggestions for seasons. And for those of you wondering the next season, 1964 is going to be the next one he's going to do, 2025. Then, of course, maybe another season that you guys might choose. And, of course, any season that is in my season selection show in April when we're about ready to start the 1980 World Series. But this is 1980, and this should be a lot of fun, I think. Ben Witz, Davo9, Gione, Jeremy Brooks, Willis Wengel, Tribe fan Ernest Cruz are first to join us here at Veterans Stadium. We're going to play the Kansas City Royals against the Philadelphia Phillies. These were the two teams that played in the 1980 World Series. The Phillies, of course, won that series. Since the Phillies did win it, we will be at the Philly home park. It will be at Veterans Stadium. Nothing like playing on turf-covered concrete. That stadium, unfortunately, has ended the careers of many a baseball and a football player. So that is tonight's matchup between the Royals and the Phillies. So that is what we will have tonight for Inside Pitch Advanced. I can answer questions. And as I said, this is not a teaching game. I'm here not to teach the game. I'm here to demonstrate it, but slow and steady. Now, of course, you guys know I've already done some exhibition games already, okay, playing the game. But I was just playing those outright. This time, this is a slow and steady game. This could be a long stream, depending how much happens, okay, in it. So for those of you that, can't watch the whole thing, of course, it's available in replay. But this is the beginning of the 1980 replay that I will do, starting, of course, January 5th. And that will be opening day. It'll be the Atlanta Braves against the Cincinnati Reds at Riverfront Stadium. Doug Hunt joins us now here at Veterans Stadium. So my off season is over, and 1964. Well, like I said, it all depends on the selection show, but we'll worry about that in 4 months. Anyway, so I think it's time we get started, and I'm glad for you guys to join me here as my off season is now almost over. And I know I didn't do much streaming. It was good to rest the voice. It really was, because of course, you guys know I play every night practically with a break in between, and my voice can get kind of worn out. But I thank for all of you guys to join me tonight for some Inside Pitch Advanced. And this is the 1980 demo game. Let's get started here. Starting pitcher will be for the Philadelphia Phillies. Will, of course, be, lefty. Can only be lefty Steve Carlton. Carlton was excellent in 1980. He was 24-9 with a 2.34 ERA. He had 286 strikeouts lefty. He was 35 years old in 1980, and he still pretty much dominated the National League in that year. Brian Patterson now joins us here at Veterans Stadium. Now, these are the official cards for 1980. The cards I was using for those little exhibition games were PDF. He actually did make some changes to the 1980 cards that I used, but this is now the official set we are using. So for those of you who are just wanting to watch a little baseball and see how Inside Pitch Advanced is played, just sit back and enjoy the ride. And we'll go to the top of the first. So as I said, you roll on the pitcher card, and then if the play is not resolved here, we go to the batting card. So let's see what we got here. We are at the National League ballpark. Pitchers will be batting. Let's go to the top of the first. Starting for the Royals will be the left fielder, Willie Wilson. He will be the fielder. We, of course, use D8s instead of D6s. And this should be a lot of fun. We're going to use red, white, and powder blue dice. Phillies are the home team. And let's see what happens. So let's play a little demo game. And I remember the last time we played with these two pitchers, it was a low-scoring game. It was a great pitchers duel between these two. Let's see if we get the second kind. Let's see what we get here. So we rolled an 8-2. An 8-2 on the pitcher card is a straight strike, is a K. It's a straight strikeout. We then check Willie Wilson. Willie Wilson against a lefty has a 10. Veterans Stadium subtracts 1 from strikeouts and adds 2 to walks, does not adjust home runs. Veterans Stadium, pretty neutral. Maybe a neutral park might favor hitters a little bit. So we'll check Willie Wilson against lefty. That is a 10. Minus 1 is a 9. That is a 5 on the D20. He is struck out. So that'll be the first strikeout for lefty. And we will bring up the next, that'll be the shortstop, UL Washington, Underwriters Laboratories, Washington. So Steve Carlton will go ahead and pitch. And that is an 8-6. An 8-6 is again a K, strikeout. Against a lefty, Washington is 11. Minus 1 is a 10. That is a 10. That I call a called strike 3. And Washington will go down on strikes, and that is out number 2. And then we'll go ahead. Yep, the new cards as well. That'll bring up the third baseman, Mr. George Brett. Of course, one of the greatest of all time. Brett had an awesome year in 1980. Batted .390, 118 RBIs. And he had 24 bombs. George Brett, definitely one of the greatest of all time. So Carlton will go ahead and pitch. Carlton, a 6-7. A 6-7 on his card again is a K, a strikeout. Against a lefty, Brett didn't strike out much in 1980. He has a 5. Minus 1 is a 4. That is a 19. That will be too high. We will go to Brett's card. And it's a 7-6. And a 7-6 here on George Brett's card has a part of a triangle and an L4. This is if the infield was in. If the infield was in, that would be a single past second, but the infield is not in. So that is just a straight line out to second, and that is going to be a 1-2-3 inning for lefty. And we'll go to the bottom of the first. Starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals tonight is another lefty, Larry Gura. Had a good year. 18 wins, 10 losses, a 2.95 ERA. He had 113 strikeouts and 70 walks. Larry Gura, pretty good. As a matter of fact, Larry Gura, if you take a look at his card, he was a little bit better giving up home runs with nobody on base, a little worse when he had base. But this is interesting here. With runners in scoring position, well, he has a 15. So if you got a batter that has an R result, Gura has a 75% chance of turning a single or a base hit into an out with runners in scoring position. That's that one thing now. As you can now, that's a new thing where you can actually check to see how good a pitcher was with runners in scoring position or with runners not in scoring position. As I said, Brian, standard regular inside pitch is not going away. Bottom of the first, leading off for the Phillies will be the first baseman, Charlie Hustle, one of the greatest of all time, Mr. Pete Rose. Hall of Famer? No. Will he go in finally? He should. So Larry Gura will go ahead and he will pitch, and let's see what we get. So we roll a 4-2, and a 4-2 comes up an error on a booted ball. So it's a possibility the error, it could be a error on a, kind of like another way of error on a grounder, but there is a difference. So we'll go to Pete Rose's card, and that is a 2-2. Now a 2-2 is an NS8. Now there are no runners in scoring position, so this actually takes effect. Now this is a single pass into center field. There are no runners in scoring position, so this would be a single. But now we'll check Larry Gura. Larry Gura, runners with no runners in scoring position, he has a 7. So now we would check the D20. If this is a 1-7, that turns that single into an out. So let's check the D20. I've not looked at it. And that is a 15. It is higher than the 7. So that still will be a base hit for Pete Rose. So that will be a single for Rose. Now, as an error on a booted ball, we'll know, go ahead. Now, it was a single to center field. So you'll now check the error chart here. And you'll notice on EB, error on a booted ball, there is a possibility on a number 5. So now we got to check the error rating of the center fielder. The center fielder for Kansas City is Willie Wilson. Center fielder is Amos Otis. And Otis's error rating is a 7. We've already used the D20. We now have to roll a D20 again to see if he makes an error on a booted ball. A 1-7, it's an error. It is a 1, he'll make an error. So now we got to check to see what happens there. So now we'll go ahead and bring up the error chart again. So it's an error on a booted ball. And we now roll 2D8. On a roll of 88, the lead runner or batter is thrown out at second base of advancement. So we re-roll 2D8, and that doesn't happen. So now we'll check to see. So it's a 5 and a 3. This is something new. Okay. If not a roll of 88, runners, batters automatically advance at least one base. Well, Pete Rose has a base running rating of 4. We use the red die. That is a 5. That's going to advance him. Okay, automatically advance one base. So he automatically goes to second. Now what happens after that? Now you follow the rule. Using the same 2D8 roll of runners, batters, check to see if anyone can advance a second base. Only if the runners, batters base running rating is greater than the red roll and the outfielder's arm is less than the white roll, the runner advances a second base. So Pete Rose has a base running rating of 4. That is a 5, so he would be able to probably advance to third, but now we got to check the arm rating of center field, and that is Otis. Otis's arm rating is a 4. The D is assist, so you don't worry about that. That is a 4. So his arm rating is higher than the white die. So we check here again. And it has to be less than the white die roll. The runner advances a better second base. If the runner batter passes both checks, they advance one extra base only. It is greater than the red die. But it is greater than the red die. Okay. But the outfielder's arm is higher than the white die. The white die was a 3, and Otis's is a 4. Rose stays at second. So in case for an error on a booted ball, it's a little bit more involved now on errors on a booted ball or grounders to center field or so. Okay. But he would advance to second. So that is a base hit and an error. And that is how that will go. So that is going to be an E8. And that'll be the first error on the Royals. So that is what has happened when you check. You got to see if the red die is higher, which it is. Pete Rose. Actually wouldn't go because the red die is higher than the 4. So actually wouldn't have been able to advance anyway, but he's got to be great. It's got to be greater. So we'll check that again because I'm still learning it. So like I said, so only if the batter is greater than the red die roll and the outfielder's arm. It was already higher than the white die, lower than the red die. So he wouldn't have advanced anyway, but that is how you do an error on a booted ball. The next batter is going to be Bake McBride. And we do roll it. You still have a strategy roll. Strategy rolls are now on the batter card overall. So now we roll a strat, and that is at 8, and nothing's going to happen here. McBride he is not going to bunt. His bunt rating is a 3. He's not going to bunt here, no hit and run. So we will roll. So Gura will pitch. Gura a 3-4, and that's a wild possibility. We go right to here. Wild pitch 1-5, pass ball 6-7. That's a 15. That is too high. No wild pitch. We'll go right to McBride, and that is a 4-4. And 4-4 is a star 4. It's a star 4. It's a double star 4, which is an automatic out. And we'll go ahead and go to Gura's card. And that's a ground ball to third. So it's a grounder to third. The throw will go to first for the out. Now, Pete Rose can still get to third base. So you go runner on second. Okay. Runners on balls. Runner holds on balls at the shortstop or pitcher. Runner advances on ball hit the third on a 1D8 re-roll of 8 roll only. So I re-roll a D8 only on an 8. He'll get to third. He won't. He'll stay put, and that is 1 out. Good to see everyone here. What I haven't said here. Brian Patterson and Craig Scarborough joins us here at Veterans Stadium. And that will bring up that bum, Michael Jack Schmidt. He was 30 years old in 1980. He still wanted to be the greatest third baseman in baseball history. We'll see. I don't know. We'll have to find out. So we re-roll a strat, and that is a 3, and nothing happening there. Pete Rose, his attempt is a 2, but he's not gonna steal third base here. So we'll roll for Gura. Gura is a 2-7, and 2-7 is a blank. We'll go to Schmidt's card. Schmidt is a 3-2. A 3-2 is a star line 6. Double star 6 will go to here, and that's going to be a ground out to short. And now a grounder to short. Pete Rose's base running rating is a 1-4. So a 1-4, he'll make it to third. He does. It was slow enough. So Rose will advance to third. Schmidt is out at first, and that's out number 2. So now there are 2 outs, and that will bring up Wheels, Greg Luzinski, a.k.a. Wheels. He's in left field for this game. One thing about inside pitch advance, there's also chances to rob home runs. There is no chance to rob one at Veterans Stadium, however, the walls are too high. But there are chances to rob home runs at certain ballparks. As I said, inside pitch advance has added so much new stuff, okay? But it really falls in. It's really more even streamlined than regular inside pitch. David Vega joins us here at Veterans Stadium. So let's see how this goes. So we'll still roll a strat for Rose, and that's an 18. He's not going to do anything. So Gura will pitch, and Gura is a 3-8. A 3-8 is an EG, error on a grounder. So a possible error on a ground ball will go to Luzinski's card. Luzinski is an 8-8, and that is a double star 4. We'll go to that, and that is a G5. So that is a ground ball. It's a ground ball to third. The third baseman for the Royals is George Brett, and his error rating is a 13. That's a 2. He's going to make an error. George Brett is going to make the second error of the game for the Royals. That will automatically score Rose. Luzinski is safe, and it's 1-0 Phillies. The error on a grounder, the error rules kind of still work the same way. So that is an E5 that will bring in a run. And you can check on the error rolls here. So error on a grounder, ground booted, all runners advance 1 base. And it just worked, and it works, or 12 actually. Boots ball, grounded, booted, and now actually it's a 12 actually. So we actually boots ball 1 or 2. So grounder booted, roll 1D8, any base runner, including batter, that has a base running rating greater or equal to the roll, goes 2 bases. So that's the rule. That's a new rule. Greg Luzinski's base running rating is a 1, and he'll stay at second base. He'll stay at first. So we got to realize error on a grounder, it can be, the runners can now advance 1 or 2 bases, but he'll stay at first. So that is an error there. Okay. So already 2 outs, but the Phillies already have a 1-0 lead because the Royals can't play defense. Here's second baseman Manny Trio. And Luzinski's on at first. I doubt he's going to do anything, and he won't. Strategy roll says nothing. And, of course, we check here for hit and runs and sacrifice hits and bunts and such. So let's see what happens. So there are 2 outs, bottom of the first inning. Phillies lead 1-0. Gura, a 1-7. 1-7 is a split chance. Against a lefty, it will be a strikeout. Against a righty, it's a walk. Trio is a righty. Against a lefty, Trio strikes out on a 4. It was a walk. So he walks against the lefty 11. Plus 2 makes him a 13. That's an 18. It's too high. He will not walk. Trio will go ahead and he will swing. 6-7, and that comes up as an F7. A fly out the left, and that will end the inning. So 1 run on 1 hit and 2 errors. 2 errors. But the Phillies have a 1-0 lead here after 1. As you can see, there really is not much difference between inside pitch and inside pitch advanced, except for some nuances that this game has. You've already seen so far. You've already seen how runners in scoring position can work. No runners in scoring position, maybe a possible home run, error, how the new error system a little bit. This game flows very, very smoothly, and I think it actually flows more smooth than regular inside pitch. That's because of the calculations. You really don't have to make any calculations when it comes to base running, except possibly for 2 outs or for the double play. And if we get to that, we'll show you. Amos Otis leads off the top of the second for the Royals. And I love these cards, by the way. I love the new cards. I know some people have some issues with how the cards look. They look busy. Perhaps they do, but I think, to me, I've had no problem reading them. I've had no problem reading the cards. And even if I was still playing regular inside pitch, my eyes still go ahead sometimes and do that. Webb Johnson joins us here at Veterans Stadium. So there's so much this game can do. Let's see what lefty does. So lefty. And it is a 2-7. A 2-7 is an error on a foul out or grounder at the park. So now we go to Veterans Stadium. We'll roll on that card. And that is a 2-2. Now, a 2-2 has an FP 5 or 3. This is a foul ball. This is a foul ball, okay, into this, past the line. Otis is a righty, so we're going to check to see it's a foul out, okay, to first base. So this is in foul territory. That's a foul out. We do check to see if he makes an error. And that is the first baseman. The first baseman is Pete Rose. Pete Rose has an error rating of 3. Okay? And that is a 1. Yes, let's take a look and see what happens. So an EFG. So we'll check here an EFG on a foul out to first is 2. Drop the pop-up. Pop fly dropped, 1 base of less than 2 outs, otherwise 2 base error. Foul ball dropped, repitch if on bunt, 1 base every 1. It is a foul ball because says F, so the F stands for foul out. So that is an error on Pete Rose. He dropped a pop up in foul territory. So we do give an error to the Phillies, but it is a repitch. What was the reason going for a new grid? He can now put a lot more on the cards. And there's a lot more results there, Brian Patterson. A lot more results. This is the game he really wanted to make. If he could go back in time and restart regular inside pitch, he would make it this way. This is the game he really wanted to make. He just didn't have the software and the radar ability. Now he does. Now he's making it this official way. Trust me, this game is, in my opinion, a lot more fun. They're both fun to play. A lot of people are going to stick with regular inside pitch, and that is fine. So we dropped a foul ball, so that's an error. That's going to be an E3, but it'll be a repitch. So Carlton, a 3-5, and a 3-5 range play 11. So we're getting things here today. So there's an RP 11. So now we check the D20. If this is an 11 or lower, this is a range play. If it's 12 or higher, it is not. This is something he baked into the pitchers because some pitchers didn't rely on their defense that much. So the higher the range play rating, the more the pitcher relies on his defense, according to the ratings. The lower, the pitcher was better, not handling the defense. That is a 10, so this is going to be a range play. So Otis will bat, and it's a 1-2. So a 1-2 on Otis's card is an F7. This is a fly out to left field. Now, a fly out to left field, of course, is the Wheels Lazinski, and he is a 1. Now, one rule he did put in, range play rolls of 8 are successful for the home team. So that was kind of like a little bit of a home field advantage he gave to the home team. If I roll a 1 or an 8, Lazinski will make this range play. He doesn't. Now we gotta see what it is. And now we check the range play card of Steve Carlton. Carlton has a range play here that states if a range play was failed, what will he give up? We roll a D20, and the D20s, if the D20 is a 1 to 7, this would be a double. Anything higher than that is a single. That is a 16. Amos Otis will get a single. So range plays are no longer range plays, okay? If it's a range play that doesn't automatically give a hit, okay, the pitcher can now decide what your range play will be. It could. So maybe on a lot of defensive plays, a lot of pitchers didn't give up many doubles on failed range plays. They gave up singles. Carlton, a 1 to 7 tells me he didn't give up many doubles when the defense failed him. So this is going to be a single for Otis. The only seasons available right now, Brian, are 2024, 1984, 1980, and 1978. It's going to take him some time to fill the inventory. It will take time. He says he's not going anywhere, and he's right now. Seasons upcoming are 1964, 2025, maybe another season before my next selection show. Which, if a season comes up that is chosen that is not available yet, he will make that season for me. The next batter is Willie Aikens. Willie Aikens is at first base. Amos Otis has a steal attempt of 3. Carlton has a hold rating of 0. We still roll a D20 to see if anything happens. Okay, so we roll a D20, and that is a 17, and nothing happening. So Otis will stay where he is. So Carlton will pitch, and that is a 2-1. Now a 2-1 here is an automatic out or a single. If he is tired, this parentheses comes up, but this is going to be an automatic out. It's a double star, so that's going to be an out. And we just checked the 8 here, and the 8, if you see there, the cards have 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 3 to 6. This is for batters 1 to 8, but since that's an 8, it's going to be, you're going to use the top here, so that's going to be a 4 to 8. It's going to be a 7 or 8 here. That's going to be a ground ball to third. Now we check to see if there's a double play. Now, double plays are handled a little bit differently than the old game. The old game, in classic inside pitch, you got to go ahead and, see what the pivot arm or all that stuff occurs. There is no pivot arm in inside pitch advanced. It is straight to the only kind of calculation to make is if the ball was hit to. The ball was hit to third. So then we check the double play modification. And if it's hit the third, the adjustment is 0. What you can do is you're going to check the D20. You're going to roll a D20 if you haven't used it already, and check to see if, and then you're going to add that, you're going to add any modifications, and then you check the double play ratings, of the batter. So Willie Aikens has a double play rating of 8+. He hit into a number. The lower than this number, the more double plays the player hit into. So that is an 8+. What Steve Carlton does, he has no double play modifier, so it's a 0. Okay, it's a 0, and it's hit the third base, which was a modifier. So we roll a D8, we roll a D20. Okay, and whatever that number is, we would add or subtract to see what the final result would be. Now, if the number is lower than is lower or equal to the runner on first. And if he's being held, there's still I still believe if he's held, I think there's still a -1. I don't know if he added that in that rule in that. I got to check, but I'm not sure if that's one thing I didn't check. But I think on a double play chance, I think the runner still has a -1 because he's being held. But I don't see that here, so I'm probably not. So it's probably here. So if I roll a D8, it's a 5 or lower. Amos Otis makes it to second, and Akins is thrown out. A 6 or 7, Otis would be out at second. Okay, Akins would make it to first. But if it's an 8 or higher, this is a double play. It is. So Wake Akins grounds out into a 5-4-3 double play, and there are 2 outs. The lower the number of double play on the batter, the more double plays he hit into. So they're now 2 down, and that will bring up the catcher, John Wathan. Since it was hit to third base, there was no modification. You don't have to call double play death if you want to, because there is no range penalties on double play death. He does not. He says double play death does not have a range penalty. And if you want to check the chart, you can. You can check the chart that there is no range penalty on double play depth. So there's no -1 or anything like that for checking for double plays. The only time you have a range penalty is if the infield is in and the ball is hit to you. So here's John Wathan. The reason why 1980, of course, is now out because this was the season that you guys selected. You guys wanted 1980 when we did my season selection show. It was a unanimous decision. 55% of the votes went to 1980 over the other 3 seasons, 1963, 1947, and 2020. So it was unanimous, so I didn't even roll dice. I didn't need to. You guys automatically decided you wanted 1980 to be the next season. So 1980 was decided by you guys, not by me. Carlton will pitch. A 1-2. Again, that's an EB. It's an error on a booted ball. We'll go to Wathan. Wathan, a 5-1. A 5-1 says F7. It's a fly to left, and that will be a fly out, and that will end the inning. So no runs, a hit for the Royals. We'll go to the bottom of the second. So Larry Gura will come up to pitch. And that will bring up center fielder Gary Maddox. Maddox has a center field range of 7. Maddox has a range of 7. Mike Schmidt has a range of 7. Trio has a range of 7. And Bake McBride have a range of 7. Now, why is that important? If any range play goes to those players, I don't even have to roll for a range check. Because range play rolls of 8 are successful for the home team, I don't even have to roll for a range check. They will automatically make that play. That is something that he decided to give a little bit for home field, a slight home field advantage, which actually, that's more, to me opinion, that's more of a slight home field advantage. That's more of a slight home field advantage. No, if 1947 was selected, he would have made the season. If 1947 was selected, he would have made the 47 season. He says he can go back as far as 44 right now. He would have made 47. He would have made any of the seasons that were not available. He would have done it. Here's Gura. Gura has a 6-4. A 6-4 is a strikeout chance against the lefty. Maddox is a 9. -1 is an 8. That's 11 too high. Maddox, 1-1, and that's a fly to left. As I said, ask questions, and you can ask questions, of course, in the game and such, because when I start playing the regular season, I play through. I'm no longer teaching in. I would have no problem if 2021. If 2020 had won, I would have no problem with it. I probably would have played, since you guys, I know I do 1 game per 3 days of baseball. I would have done 1 game per 1 day of baseball for 2020. It would have taken the same amount of time to do the 2020 season. All right, that it would have taken any other team, any other season if 2020 came up. So I would have no problem if 2020 came up. And believe it or not, I like the 2020 season. It's short, it's quick, and you know what? Anything can happen in a short year. I know a lot of people hate the season. I thought 2020 was fun. Here's Boa. Larry Boa is the shortstop. But you know me, I love any baseball season. I don't care what season comes up. All right. Now, of course, you know that. The next selection show, 15 seasons before 1980 and 15 seasons after 1980 will not be available. So the next season I will do will either be from 1944 to 1964 or 1996 to 2025. So here's Gura. Gura's an 8-3. So an 8-3, once again, is an error on a foul out or grounder at the park. So we go to Veterans Stadium, and that is a 1-2. A 1-2 is an S5. Now, that is a single pass third, and that is a single pass third. And we still check to see if there's an infield single, and that is a 1. Boots ball, grounder booted, all runners advance one base, but we got to see if there's an error. We got to see if there's an error still. So that's a single pass third. The third baseman is Brett. His error rating is a 13. That's a 3. He boots it, and another error by the Royals. And Boa's on second. So that's going to be a base hit and an E5. That is the third error on the Kansas City Royals already. So the Kansas City Royals have already made 3 errors, and we're only in the second inning. And again, you can check on an EFG, and it's a 1. Boots ball, grounded booted, all runners advance one base only. So there are already 3 errors on this Royals team. If you're wondering this Royals team, if you're wondering if there are a lot of errors so far, let's put it this way. 10, 10, 13, 7, 10, 12, 19, 4. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in the starting lineup with error ratings of 10 or higher. So that does make a difference. The next batter is going to be the catcher, Bob Boone. So Boa's already on at second, and there's only 1 out. So we'll roll to see a strategy roll, and that is a 1. Now, a 1 comes up, okay, to see if there's a steal attempt. Boa has a steal rating of 4. Gura has a 0, but when you try to steal second, all right, you divide that by 2. Boa has a chance to steal third. I'm not going to do that, but that does come up. He does have a chance to, well, why not? It's an exhibition game. So we'll go ahead and check here for stealing. Okay, so jump rate plus attempt and a hold. Okay, so jump divided by 4 and round steal divided by 4 and round steal third. Okay, so you're not going to steal third. That's divided by 4. So that is staying second. That stays second. Okay, never mind. It'll be divided by 2 in regular inside pitch. Not that's 4 here. What does the NS mean on the Bartow card? What do you mean NS? Mean NS. You mean NR? Bartow? You mean NR? Is that what you mean here? The NR? That decides how good they are with runners in scoring position and how with runners not in scoring position and runners that are not in scoring position. And you'll see, okay, so if a batter has good in runners in scoring position, okay, this pitcher has a chance to turn a single into an out. The higher the number, the better the pitcher has a chance to turn a single into an out if there's runners in scoring position. But if there are no runners in scoring position, okay, he does allow more singles and there's nobody on base or base hits. Runners on, whatever the batter comes up with. So no steal. Let's see what Gura does. 3-6. So a 3-6 for Gura is a split chance. Strike out to lefty, walk to righty. Boone is a righty. We'll check a walk. Boone against lefties is a 12. Plus 2 is a 14. That's a 9. And Gura will walk Boone. So now runners at first and second with 1 out. And that will bring up the pitcher, Steve Carlton. Pitchers now use special hitting cards. They no longer have their own pitcher hitting cards like regular inside pitch does. Although some pitchers that were very proficient in hitting, Chris may go ahead and give them their own hitting card. Like obviously Shohei Ohtani, maybe Don Drysdale from the year he batted over 300, Mike Hampton from 99. Some pitchers he may go ahead and give a batting card just because that pitcher was very proficient in hitting. Steve Carlton, you can check the batting card that a pitcher has, and it says here card number 5. Carlton also does not automatically strike out, so it actually goes straight to the pitcher hit card. So this is the card we use here for the pitchers now. He has a total of 9 hitting cards. So he kind of went the way of Stratomatic with with pitcher hitting cards, and I think that's fine personally, because now he doesn't have to create separate pitcher hitting cards, and he can just concentrate on batters, pitchers, and of course traded players. So we first got to see if there's anything happening on the bases, and that is a 12, nothing happening. Infield, of course, I have set for double play, even though it doesn't matter. So Gura will pitch. Gura 3-1. A 3-1 is a KHR. Now, if he was tired, that would be a home run chance, but instead it's a strikeout possibility. Okay. Now we'll check Carlton's. Now you go to Carlton's card here, because the pitcher hitting cards do not have the strikeouts and everything here, but he did put them on the pitcher cards. So Carlton, his strikeout rating is a 14, -1 is a 13. That is a 6. He will strike out. So even though the strikeouts and walks and all that stuff are not on the pitcher hit cards, he did put them on the pitcher cards. Remember, National League still use it. National League up to 2020-21. Still, the pitchers still bat. Okay, and of course, the designated hitter rule in the American League started in 1973. So, of course, I will be using DH for the American League as usual. Pitchers will be batting in the National League, of course, as they did in 1980. This is just a way for him to streamline pitcher hitting, and I had no problem with that. There is if a pitcher has a chance to hit a home run, it is on his batting card. It is on his pitcher card. So there are now 2 outs as he struck him out, and that'll bring up Charlie Hustle. So it's 1-0 Phillies. We'll roll a strategy. See if anything. 11 says no. Rose has a 16-19 hit and run chance. A sacrifice hit of 20. Nothing happening here. And no chance for Boa to steal here, so Gura's going to pitch. So that is a 4-6 and a 4-6. Range play 13. So Gura has an RP 13. That's a pretty high number. That means he relied on his defense a lot for when it came to range plays. So now we'll check the D20, and that is a 10. So that will be a range play off of Pete Rose's card. Now, the thing about range plays off that can backfire on you. It can turn a hit into an out or an out into a hit. But it is going to be a range play, so Pete Rose will swing. And that is a 5-4. And a 5-4 on his card is an S6. Now, because it is a range play, the shortstop does have a chance to make a play. If Larry Gura changed that and it was not a range play, that would be an automatic single. So you see the difference there? Even though Larry Gura still allowed this to be a range play, that still allows the shortstop to make a play on the ball. If this was higher than the 13, it would not have been a range play. It would have been an automatic single. So now we'll check shortstop for the Royals, and that is UL Washington. UL Washington's range is a 5. With 2 outs, he's normal position. So a 1-5, he will make this play. And he does. That's a 3, so Washington will get it. And Boone is mud. He'll throw to second to get Boone and retire the side. So that just goes as a ground out to short. So no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 walk. And after 2, it's 1-0. So you see how that, even though that might sound like a boon, you can see how that might sound. You can see how maybe that could be not beneficial to a pitcher for not turning into a range play, because if that was not a range play, that would have been a base hit automatically. But since he was a range play, it did allow UL Washington to make the play and throw to first. That's the difference there with the range play system. Give me 1 moment. I'll be right back. I need a quick drink. So even though that remained a range play, if it was not a range play, that would have been a base hit. So sometimes not leaving it a range play can help you. Let's go to the top of the third. Clint Hurdle will lead off for the Royals. I have him in right field for this game. So top of the third, 1-0 Phillies. Royals not playing a good defensive game. Carlton will pitch. And that, I think, might be the first time ever a DH jumped out. 1-5. Carlton's 1-5 here is a range. This is an RP12, a range play 12. So a 12 or lower, this is a range play. That's a 10. So the defense will get a chance to make a play. Hurdle, a 3-2, and a 3-2 is an RS6. Now, Bartlow was asking about RS6. So here is, okay, so a 3-2 is an RS6. Are there runners in scoring position? There are not. Since there are no runners in scoring position, you just take the result here. So that is going to be a base hit pass short. If there were runners in scoring position, like a runner on second, then we check Carlton's rating to see if he turns that into an out. And yes, you can turn outs, you can turn hits into outs, but you can also turn outs into hits. And that makes the difference. But there are no runners in scoring position, so that base hit is just a regular normal base hit. It's a single pass short. You just take the result. That's a single for Hurdle, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Frank White. So Hurdle is on first. Oh, range check. Okay, range check. Shortstop. So that is Boa. Boa's range is a 2. He doesn't make it, so it's still a base hit. All right. Thank you there, Ben. So now we'll go to, now thank you, catch me there. So Carlton will go ahead now pitch to White. Let's see. Hurdle, he has no chance to steal. Let's see what comes up on this. That's a 5. And nothing happening with White on a 5. His attempt for a bunt is a 4, is 8-20. So nope, nothing happening. So we'll go ahead and roll normally. Thank you, Ben. So 7-3 on Carlton. Now 7-3 on Carlton is an HP2. Hit by pitches are now automatically baked into the pitcher's matrix. This is hit by pitch -2. So now we check to see. We subtract 2 from the D20 and see if Frank White was hit by the pitch. His hit by pitch is a 4. Carlton subtracts 2. So a 4 - 2 would be a 2. That's a 12. It's too high. So White does not get hit by the pitch. So now White gets the swing. Hit by pitches and pickoffs are now automatically baked into the pitcher's matrix. You're no longer, if a 20, if in old deep in inside pitch, okay, regular, you roll a 20, you check for a pickoff and all that. You don't do that anymore. It automatically comes off the pitcher's card. White, 3-3. Now, White on a 3-3, okay, is a double star rate. It's an automatic out. It's an 8. We go right to Carlton. It's a fly out to center, and that will be out number 1. And, of course, Hurdle stays where he is. That'll bring up the pitcher. That's Larry Gura. Larry Gura also uses batting card number 5, but he has a chance to strike out depending on what the pitcher rolls. I'm going to roll anyway, but normally I would bring an automatic bunt. Okay, probably an automatic bunt attempt for the pitcher. Now the bunt rating for Gura is 3. So all the bunt ratings and all this is right here. So his bunt rating is a 3. But let's see what the strategy roll rolls first anyway. And that's a 5, nothing happening. So I'm going to have Gura bunt. So we're going to bring up the bunt chart. And the bunt chart works the exact same way regular inside pitch does. There really is no change. So what we do is we roll off the pitcher card first to see if anything's happening. So a 7-3 is a hit by pitch -2. We still check to see if he gets hit by the pitch. Okay. Larry, but a hit by pitch is a 0, so not happening. So now Gura will go ahead. See you later there, Ernest Cruz. So now we'll go ahead and see what the bunt is. What I like to do is like to roll down the course. I will bring the corners in expecting a bunt. So let's see. So we roll that, and that is an 8. And the 8 on the bunt says it is to the catcher. So it was bunted at the plate. So now we'll bring what that does is that will bring the rating down. Okay. So if the bunt rating of the pitcher, now the batter bunt rating stays a 0. Okay, if it's hit to the catcher. So the bunt rating stays the same when it's hit to the catcher. So there is no change on the bunt rating when it's bunted to the catcher. On the old game, it would bring it down, but it's not here. So now we just roll a straight bunt. So Gura's bunt rating is a 3, and that comes up a 12, and we'll check. And a 12 here, 1 to 14 is a good bunt. So that is a successful sacrifice bunt by Gura. It'll put Hurdle to second, and Gura is out, and there are 2 down. The bunt rating, the bunting in inside pitch advance works pretty much exactly the same as regular inside pitch. So that is a sacrifice hit to the catcher, and there are now 2 outs, and now the batter is Wilson. So Hurdle is now on second after the bunt chance. Because it was hit to the catcher. So Hurdle is on at second, and we'll roll a strat, and nothing happening on the 13th. So Carlton will go ahead. He'll pitch. Carlton rolls a 2-5. A 2-5 is a K, strikeout against the lefty. Wilson's a 10, -1 is a 9. That's a 7. Swing and a miss, struck him out, and the inning is over. That is the 3rd strikeout for Steve Carlton in the ball game. So no runs and a hit. And we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. The one thing about that I like to remind you guys about regular inside pitch. Regular inside pitch, he was only able to create 1 card per player. He has created dual cards for the same player, but with different teams. Okay, so for a player that was on one team and found himself on another team later, if there was a big difference, he has created another card for them. Are the cards printable 8 part? Yes, they are. If you got a PDF, yes, they are. I, of course, order his printed sets because it just looks so professional, professionally done. We go to the bottom of the 3rd, and that will bring up Mr. McBride and Groom. So Gura will pitch, and it is a 5-4. And a 5-4 is a blank. We go straight to McBride. And that is a 3-8. A 3-8 is a double star 7. And we go right to Gura's card, and that's going to be a ground out to 3rd. And 1 out. I feel in this game, pitchers seem to pitch better. Yes, the printed cards are on perforated sheets. I had no problem separating them, Davo9. No problem. Whatever paper he's using, it was so easy to pull them apart. I could put 3 sheets together at one time and pull them apart and not tear the cards. They came out very nicely. I hope he continues to use those cards for that paper for good. It pulled away like a tender steak. Very simple. Here's Michael Jack Schmidt. Gura, an 8-2. An 8-2 is a W. It's a walk. Schmidt against the lefty was a 13 against walks. +2 is a 15. That is a 4. He will walk. So Schmidt draws a base on balls. And that is the 2nd walk given up by Gura. And now that'll bring up Wheels. Lozinski reached on an error his first time up. So let's see here. It's still the same game. It's still really the same game, as you can tell. It really is the same game. Just with more nuances, and he puts a few more things into it. I think to me, I still say, I know a lot of people still swear by Strat. They swear by Fall Classic. They swear by APA. They swear by History Maker. They swear, I understand that. Payoff pitch. I still say this is the best game now. I still say this is the epitome of baseball. And it's even simpler to play than regular inside pitch. And yet it's advanced. Strategy roll. And nothing happening on the 10. So Gura will pitch. Gura, a 3-3, and that is a hit by pitch -2. Okay, so Luzinski, his hit by pitch rating is a, where is that? His hit by pitch rating is an 18. So we got hit by a lot of pitches. -2 makes him a 16. That's an 8, and he plunked him. Ouch. So Gura hit Luzinski on a hit batter. And I'm not going to do the 3 batter. I'm not going to do the hit by. This is an exhibition game, so a few baseball rules. I'm going to relax. Hit batters, I'm not going to take a pitcher out or anything like that. And if this goes into extra innings, I will be using ghost runners. So here's Trio. He will bat next, as long as statistically realistic. I have not gotten any accuracy information yet on inside pitch advanced, although Craig Scarborough, who actually does help him with the Raider, running the seasons through his Raider to try to get him as accurate as possible. Of course, this game has just come out, so nobody yet has done any season results. But I believe Craig Scarborough has told me that this is as accurate as he can get this game. And remember how I said that. I did not say it is the most accurate baseball game you can play. I said this is as accurate as Chris can get inside pitch at this time. It's as accurate as this game can get. That's how I'll say that. If you guys still want to disagree with ratings and stuff like that, that's fine. But I'm not going to argue ratings and such. All right. You can ask Chris why that was rated, why a player was rated that way. Okay. And if you do, ask him in the forums and that kind of thing. And he'll answer you. He'll tell you the reason why. And the one thing Chris Davis is good at, he's very good at mathematics. So Trio is the batter. We have runners at first and second, infield double play, Dev, no, and 1 out. A roll of strat and nothing on the 8th. So Gura will go ahead and pitch. Gura, a 2-2. A 2-2 against the lefties, an automatic out. Against the righties, a blank. Trio's a righty, it's a blank. Trio, a 3-8. And a 3-8 now. Now, 3-8 is an RS3. This is a single past the first baseman with runners in scoring position. This gives the pitcher a chance to see if he can turn that into an out. We do have a runner in scoring position. It is Mike Schmidt. Any base runner on second or third is a runner in scoring position. We now check Larry Gura's card. With runners in scoring position as an R, it's a 15. I checked the D20. If there's a 15 or lower, he turns that base hit into an out. And that is a 9. That turns that single past first into an out. It is now a ground out to first instead of a single pass first. Now we check to see if there's a double play since it was hit to first base. Now we'll check this. And hit to first base is a -2. So I figure now he usually if it's hit to first base, you're going to subtract 2 from the double play roll. So now we'll check to see what we have here. So, hold on. Shoot, time out. We're going to fix something here. All right. So Manny Trio, his double play rating is a 12 plus. Is a 12 plus. So his double play rating is kind of average. Maybe a little better than average, but a better average. So this was hit to first. So now we're going to roll a D20 to see if it is a double play. And it is a 17. Well, 17 -2 hit to first is a 15. Larry Gura adds 1, so that becomes a 16. So it's a 16 is the roll. Trio's double play rating is a 12. We already know that's going to be a 3-6-3 double play, and it will end the inning. That is a 3-6-3 double play. Pitcher a chance to make a play. He gives the pitcher a chance to turn that into an out. If that was an N, okay, that would have been an automatic base hit because there were runners in scoring position. So in a way, if it's an R, it gives the pitcher a chance to make a play if it was runners in scoring position. So as you see, that is the nuance of this game. It kind of, if you want to say it kind of works like a clutch rating and strat, if you like, that's okay. If you want to think, you want to compare it to that, that's fine. But the clutch rating on Stratomatic only okay, it only goes to the batter. Only the batter has the clutch rating on his card. The pitcher on Stratomatic does not have that. Here in this game, the batter has a clutch rating and the pitcher has a clutch rating to try to stop a base hit. So after that, it is no runs, no hits. There was a walk, a hit batter. It stays 1-0 after 3. So unlike Stratomatic, which I'm not knocking, but Stratomatic has the clutch rating, but it's only on the batter's card. The pitcher has no control over the clutch rating on a batter's card. In this game, the pitcher does have a control, okay, of a quote-unquote clutch rating on a batter's card. We go to the top of the 4th, and Underwriters Laboratories Washington will lead off. You see how that works? A lot of nuances in the game. A little bit of a learning curve in some of this, but I tell you, it really isn't. This is even more easier. And we haven't had a hit to the outfield with runners on base yet. Carlton will pitch. It's a 2-6. I can't wait. Trust me, I can't wait to start the season. A 2-6, and that's a K with an HR in parentheses. He is not tired, so that's a strikeout. Washington against lefties is 11. -1 is a 10. That's a 16. It's too high. Washington. And he's a switch hitter, okay? But he will go ahead and he will swing. Washington, a 6-4, and a 6-4 is a double star 2. It's an automatic out, and that's going to be a fly out to center. For some reason, in the inside pitch advanced, I think the pitcher has more control over the game than it did in inside pitch regular. That's the one thing I believed in with this because of some of the nuances it gave the pitcher. I think the pitcher has more control in inside pitch advanced than it does in regular inside pitch because of some of the nuances here. Next batter is Mr. Brett. Carlton is a 1-8. 1-8, again, a KHR. KHR, strikeout if he was tired, a home run possibility. He is not tired. Against the lefty, Brett is a 5. -1 is a 4. 20 is too high. Brett, a 4-4, and 4-4. Brett has a switch. Against the lefty, it's a fly out to right field. Against the righty, it's a double to right field. Well, we know Carlton. What's Carlton's nickname? Lefty. And that's a fly out to right field. As you can tell by Brett, he did have some issues against lefties. He did not hit as well against lefties as he did against righties. Also, the standard of course, where Chris hates the word cookie cutter, where some of the batter cards, no matter what, the threshold for bats and innings pitched, batters now threshold is down to 20 at bats before he just makes a basic card for batters. And for pitchers, I believe it's 20 innings. It's 10 innings pitched. Here's Amos Otis. So Carlton will go ahead and pitch. So lefty, an 8-2. An 8-2 is a strikeout. Otis against lefty is a 15. -1 is a 14. That is a 4. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. And that will end the inning. That is the 4th strikeout for lefty. And it's still 1-0 going bottom of the 4th. So Gura will take back on the mound in the bottom of the 4th inning. He has changed the colors of the teams a little bit. So some of you may not like some of the colors that he's chosen for these. But as I said, there are not many games that actually colorize their cards. All right. Inside pitch, season ticket baseball. Even Joe Bryan started colorizing his cards in a certain way for payoff pitch. Okay. And triple play baseball colorizes the cards, but not many games colorize the teams for the cards. Here is Gary Maddox. 2/3 of the world is covered by water. The other third is covered by Gary Maddox. So Larry Gura, an 8-2. 8-2 is a walk. Against the lefty, Maddox is a 4. Plus 2 is a 6. That's a 9. He doesn't walk. Maddox will swing, 7-2. And now we have an N, S5. Now, this is if there are no runners in scoring position. This is a single past third. But now we check Gura. There are no runners in scoring position. Now we check Gura's card. Gura has an N rating is a 7. So I check the D20. A 1 to 7, that turns that single past third into an out past third. That is a 12. It is higher than that. So that will be a single for Maddox. So Gura was not great when runners were not runners in scoring position. That's a base hit for Maddox. And now the batter is Boa. So far, this demo game I'm doing is giving you guys a good look at how this game operates. This is the official demo game. It's not like the exhibition games I did. This stream here officially opens the 1980 replay starting on January 5th. So let's see. So double play. Let's see here. Maddox has a, let's see here. Let's roll. That is a 3. Boa has a bunt rating of not happening here. Maddox has a steal rating of 5, a 0. That is a 3. Maddox has a chance to steal. So let's roll. Let's see here. Stolen base ratings is 17. Gura -1 is a 16. Maddox at 25 stolen bases. Why not? It's an exhibition game. Maddox is going to try to steal second base. So just like the regular inside pitch, and I'll show you the strategy roll. Okay. So jump rate. All right. Jump rate. And just for stealing, a 1 to 2, runner safe. Then check to see if the catcher makes a throwing error. Roll greater than stolen base, otherwise safe. 20 caught stealing. But he can't. Now, it is possibility in inside pitch advanced, you could still roll a 20, but the fielder can drop the ball. So if you roll 2 20s in a row, it's a drop. But let's see. So Maddox is a 1 to 16, Maddox will steal second base. And he just barely did it. That is a 16. He barely stole second base. Probably just got inches under the bag, so that'll be a stolen base for Gary Maddox, his first. So now we'll re-roll the strat with a runner on second. And that is an 11 and nothing happening there. And I'm looking forward to you, Craig, to some A's games. Oh, yeah, 1980s. They were still known as the Swinging A's back then. And, Craig, I'm looking forward to you as soon as you help out Chris as much as you can to get those seasons made. The one thing about Inside Pitch Advanced, when creating a new game, he needs to get seasons out as fast as he can. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to play that game because there's a season there's a season that they're going to want to play and it's not available. Yeah, he's getting really good at it. He got 1980 out in 6 weeks. So I'm proud of him. I'll tell you the truth. I really want him getting one season out per month. I know he won't be able to do that, but that's where I'd want him to do. I want him to get one inside pitch advanced season out per month. Have him get 12 seasons per year, including, of course, the more common. You thought this was a demos game. Where's Dave? D. Scott Howard, the Goat Whisperer, joins us here at Veterans Stadium. This is a demo game, not a demos game. But cute. So we'll roll a strat. And nothing happening there. So Gura will pitch. Infield is now back. And there's still nobody out. So Gura, a 5-5. And a 5-5 is a strikeout. Against the lefty, Boa is a 3. -1 is a 2. Because of Veteran Stadium, that's say Boa's bacon. That is a 3. It just missed. Boa will swing. 7-6 and a 7-6. Now we get to see the charts. 7-6 here on the card is an S9. This is a single to right field. What I like to do is I like to mark a pawn on where the ball was hit to so I don't forget. This is a single to right. Now in the old game, we had to do some calculations and everything. I had to have a helper card, all right, to see if a runner moved up. Does Gary Maddox score? Now we go to the streamline. Now we go to these charts. Trust me, they're easy. We check for a single to right field. Gary Maddox is on second base, and we roll single to home. We will use this chart. The key to using this chart is right here. So we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and roll all the dice. The red die is the red die is top and the white die is bottom. So let's see what happens. That is an 8-7. Now in 8-7, we come to here and it says play. We got to play at the plate. So anytime this comes up, we got to play at the plate. Now, if there's a play at the plate, we go right to this chart. So if the ball was hit the right field, Maddox is coming around third. Larry Bowa's at first. Now we check the right fielder. Now we check the assist rating. The right fielder for Kansas City is Clint Hurdle. His assist rating in right field is a C. Now we'll go and take a look at the chart over here, and we'll see what happens here. We check here. In a C, a 3 to 14, he's out at the plate. A 15 to 20, he is safe. The trailing runner advances if the base running is greater than the white D8. So now we check the D20, and that is a 17. And Gary Maddox is going to be safe. Just like that. So Maddox does score from second. Now the white die is a 7. Bowa is a 5. His rating is lower than this 7. He stays at first. He will not go to second on the throw. It is 2-0 Phillies on an RBI single by Bowa. See how that was? Not have to worry about rolling that much, just had to roll. So an 8-7 on single to home, a play is a 17, check a C. It says safe, trailing greater than or equal to the white die. He moves up an extra base. There's a 5, that was a 7, and he stays put, and that's how that works. And that is how base running works here in this game, and that's how base running goes when it's hit the left center. So the thing about it is some people say, well, what would the play have been, okay, if it was regular, if you're using the calculations for regular inside pitch? I don't know what he would have rated it at, but in this case, if it was hit the right field, you probably would have added maybe +3 to right, and then take the arm rating in account, and then the base running rating. But here, you look at these charts, and you can see what each one means. So rolls, the red die roll of 1, or the colored die roll of 1 to 2 to 4 takes into account the runner's base running rating. 5 to 6 takes in the arm rating of the fielder. 7 signals where the ball was hit to, and 8 is usually always a play unless it's on some of the other charts. That is so easy that I actually asked him to create that kind of chart for a regular inside pitch, and he did. There is an you can now play classic inside pitch that way if you wish with the alternate chart. It is available somewhere on the forum if you want to utilize the inside pitch advanced base running chart on balls hit the field, all right, in regular inside pitch. It is so smooth. So next batter is Boone. Bowa's on at first. It's now 2-0 after an RBI single. So I'll re-roll the strat. And that is an 8 and nothing happening. So Gura, he will pitch. And that's a 7-5. 7-5 is a strikeout. Lefty Boone is a 6. -1 is a 5. That's an 8. He does not strike out. Boone will swing for 8. And that is a G5. That is a ground ball. That's a ground ball to third. So again, we check to see if there's a double play chance. I already know, but I'll show you again. So we know a double play possibility can happen. A ground ball to third is a 0. So a 0 adjustment. Now, the one thing is, if you have runners at first and second, you got to see if it could be a 5-3 double play or a 5-4-3 double play. But either way, it was a double play no matter what the last time. But you have a 0 here. So you're not adding anything. Larry Gura adds 1 to the die roll, and Bob Boone has a double play rating of 11. So he's 50-50 pretty much when hitting into double plays. I did not use the 12. I did not use the D20 yet, so I can just check that. So we know that's a 12. It's hit the which is a 0. Gura adds 1, which would make Boone a 12. So a 12 plus. This is a double play. Believe it or not, that is a 12 because of Larry Gura's availabilities. Chance of getting double play, That is going to be a 5-4-3 double play, 2 outs. If you've already used the D20, you should re-roll it. If you've already used the D20 for a play. If you want to re-roll the D20 anyway, you can go right ahead. Some people don't like rolling dice all the time. Rolling dice over and over again. I got a question. If you don't like rolling dice, why are you playing a cards and dice? If anybody asks this question, if you don't like rolling dice, why are you playing a cards and dice sports game? I guess I gotta. Maybe somebody can answer that question. If you don't like rolling lots of dice, why are you playing a cards and dice game? I'll figure when I figure that out. When I get the answer to that, I'll let you guys know. Maybe you guys can answer that question because I don't have a clue. So 2 outs. Now the pitcher hit card comes up. So Carlton is the batter, and we'll use pitcher hit card number 5 because that's what Carlton uses. He uses batting card number 5. And Gura will pitch. Gura, a 4-6 and a 4-6. Here is a range play 13. So this is a chance for a range play. We check the D20. This is a 14 now. So Gura's a set. A 4-6 is an RP 13. But now that's a 14. Now that is not a range play. So now Gura does not give his defense a chance to make a play. We will roll on the pitcher hit card. And that is a 6-8. And a 6-8 is a G3. And a 6-8 on the pitcher hit card is a G3. That's a ground out to first, and the inning is over. If that was a range play, then Willie Aikens would have had to try to make a play. So no runs, 2 hits, a stolen base, and it's now, 1 run, my bad, 1 run. And it is now 2-0 in favor of the Phillies after 4. This game is so much fun. I don't know. I know I've already got people that say they don't want to go to inside pitch advanced. And I understand if they want to stay with regular inside pitch. I get that. This game is fun, guys. This is fun. Why do we do these things? I mean, if we were playing these games not to have fun, then again, why are we playing a game if we're not having fun doing it? That's another question I guess maybe I should ask you guys. Does anyone have an answer for that? Because, again, I'm kind of lost here. We go to the top of the 5th, and it's going to be Willie Aikens for the Royals. He'll lead off. He's 0 for 1. Why play a game if you're not going to have fun doing it? Of course, you guys are watching me roll dice here. So, as usual, I always say to you guys, get a life. Don't you guys got anything better to do than see some guy roll dice and move cards on a table? Don't you guys got something to do? Read a good book, watch a movie, have sex, something like that? I don't know. Lefty will pitch 6-7. 6-7 is a K. It's a strikeout chance. Aikens against the lefty is an 11. -1 is a 10. That is a 16. Too high. And now we'll go to Aikens' card. 1-2, and that is a base hit. A single to right field. So Aikens will get a single as he hits 1 to right. That'll bring up John Wathan, the catcher. Wathan is 0 for 1. And Devon and Ben Witz, we have 3 inches of snow falling. Snow? What's that? What's snow, Ben? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. It's 70 degrees down here in Sofla. Snow? I never heard of it. Devon 9, I listen to all the other stuff. Robert, this is our life. Bad dandruff off my head. Jeez, you got that much dandruff off your head, Ben? Oh, boy. Man, maybe you should try some Head and Shoulders. Maybe that'll work. Aikens is on at first. Double play depth. Let's roll a strategy roll. See if anything happens. Aikens is a 17. Let's see. Now, John Wathan comes up on the hit and run. That's a 17. It comes up in a 16 to 19 on a hit and run. Why not? Let's try a hit and run. So John Wathan's going to try a hit and run opportunity here. Okay. And Willie Aikens, his attempt is an H. So he can only try to get to second base on a hit and run attempt. So we're going to try a hit and run. So let's see. So we're going to do a hit and run here. Hit and runs are pretty much the same way handled, just like a regular inside pitch, although there are a couple of changes. There's a changes on the batting card. Let's see. So hit and run. 5-6. A 5-6 against a 5-6 is an automatic out. Steve Carlton is an automatic out. Single if he's tired. Carlton is not tired. Carlton can pitch to 33 batters. He is just fine. Okay, that's going to be an automatic out. We'll check the 8, and the 8 is going to be a ground ball to third. Now, this is a hit. We said this is a hit and run, so now we'll check the hit and run roll. Okay. Enjoy listening to me and watching me play. I still think you need a life there, Doug, but that's okay. So hit and run. Ground ball, double play check, -10 to roll. All base running ratings get a +3. All KWHR rates the batter cut in half. All lineouts, double plays. If the batter strikes out, resolve a play like a steal. Well, we already know on a hit and run, it's a -10 to the double play check roll. So it was ground ball to third. So we already know the third is a zero modification. Carlton is also a 0 modification. And John Watson, his double play rating is a 9+, which means a -10, there's not going to be a double play. So we'll check, though, here, and that is an 8, okay? Willie Aikens, however, the funny thing is, now we'll check here. So all base running ratings get a +3, okay? Get a +3. We now check the die roll. That is an 8. An 8, all right, so this would be, Aikens becomes a 4. The 8 is still higher than the 4. Watson, so that, because the 8 is higher, it's still going to be a force out at second. Watson will still make first. So even though we tried a hit and run, it didn't quite work because Aikens is mud, all right, and he is thrown out at second, and Watson will take first on the fielder's choice. Even though we tried a hit and run. So that is how a hit and run works. Next batter is Clint Hurdle, and he got a single his first time up. Infield still a double play depth, even though you really don't have to call it, but you know that it's there. Strategy roll, that's a 7, and nothing happening there. Watson's attempt rating is a 2, so that's too high. So lefty will pitch, lefty 4-4, and against a lefty, it's an out. Against a righty, it's a blank. Hurdle is a lefty. That's going to be an automatic out. And we'll check that's an 18, and we'll go up here, and that's going to be a fly out to center. So fly out to center, and there are 2 outs, and Watson stays at first. And now the batter is Frank Wright. -10 makes the roll, so the runner advanced to second and batter out at first. I don't know if it's negative. Now that's a good. Let me check the rule. I have the rule book here. Let me see if it goes negative. I don't know if the negative includes that. Let me see. You could be right there, Jeffrey. Hold on. Let me check on the hit and run. Let me check the roller because I have the rule book here real quick. On hit and runs, hold on. If it goes into the negative, I don't know if that does include if it goes into a negative. I don't think it can go to negative. But let me see. Let me check here, page 21, and I'll check and see if it does that. You may be right. But hold on. You may be right. Hit and run also triggers the G4. Including the hit and run, rating adjustments are very important when checking a double play roll. Since the base running rate increases 3, this should cause less double plays and more plays only at first. All right, so here's the rule. With runner on first, the at-bat proceeds normally. Ground double play check, -10 to roll. All base running ratings get a +3. If the batter strikes out, hit and run also triggers. These were possibilities which it did not. Including the hit and run rating adjustments are very important in Rule 9.2 when checking for double plays. As the base runner rating of the rate increases 3 and the roll gets adjusted by -10. It does not say it goes into the negative. I'll have to ask him that. It does not say it goes into negative. I believe he always said no roll can go below 0 and no roll can go above 20 in anything. I'll have to check. I know the roll was an 8. I know what you're talking about. I know the roll was an 8. But the thing is that the roll was higher than the 4. The roll was higher than Willie Aikens' base running rating. You add 3 to the base running rating, becomes a 4. The 8 is higher than him. That becomes a fielder's choice. If it was a 4 or lower, Aikens would have been safe, and the throw would have went to first. It has to be less than or equal to the base running rating of the runner on first. I don't think that includes going into negative. I'll ask him that. I don't see the rule on that if it goes in that. The modified rule would be a -2. Would be a minus. It was an 8, okay, and -10 would be a -2. But I don't -2. No, wait a minute, or maybe my math is wrong. Become a -2, but it can't go below 0. So it was an 8. -10 would be a -2. So yeah, he would be safe, wouldn't he? But I still have to ask him if there's negative rolls. I'll have to check him on that. If it goes below, I don't think anything can go below 0. I will take your word for it, and I'll put Aikens on second and make that I will go ahead and do that. So I'll fix that. So Watson. So Aikens will go to second, and Watson is out, and Hurdle still flew out. So there are now 2 outs anyway. So that will be a grounder to third, and we'll move him there. He still makes second. Okay, so maybe I just don't know my math. Because a big minus, it's a minus -2. So -10. So yeah, that would be lower than the 1 because his base running would have been a 4. I rolled an 8. So yep, that's right, because I subtract that. Okay, yep, that makes sense. All right. As I said, I'm still learning the game myself. But I'll have to check and see if there's any negative rolls, although I don't think it does. I think anything lower is a 0 is a 0. I'll ask him. Chris may also watch this replay, and he may watch this replay, and he'll tell me if I made any mistakes, which he's done before. All right, so Frank White's the batter. We'll put the runner on second instead, which is fine. There's still 2 outs. So roll a strat. Nothing on the 4. Aikens stays put. Carlton, lefty's a 4-5, and that is a walk chance. White against the lefty is a 2, plus 2 is a 4. 20 is too high. And then we roll for White, a 1-8. Now that is an NS1. Now an NS1 is if there are no runners in scoring position, this would be a chance to be turned into an out. There is a runner in scoring position. That N is ignored. That is a base hit up the middle to the pitcher. That will be a single. And now we'll check to see if he scores. So we now check the chart here, the advancement past infielder. That is past the pitcher, and the runner on second has to be a 2 or higher. With 2 outs, you add 1. Willie Aikens is a 1, but he's got 2 outs, so that makes him a 2. Aikens will score on a base hit past the pitcher, and it's now 2-1. So Frank White will get an RBI. So RBI single by White. Due to, upon further review, the player did make it. And now the pitcher will bat, and that is Larry Gura. This would only be the second time he would come up. I'm going to let him bat. So Larry Gura will bat. It's now a 2-1 ball game. So we'll roll strategy. Nothing on the 11. Carlton will pitch. Carlton, a 5-4. Now a 5-4 is a strikeout possibility. Gura has a K of 24. That's an 8, and that would be an automatic. That's a strikeout. Now, what if for some reason that was maybe a 6? Let's say maybe that was a 6. That was lower than that or something, and this was lower than that or something. It didn't make it. We then check this right here. Larry Gura, of course, was an American League pitcher. They didn't bat. So his strikeout rating is going to be high. It is if this was maybe a 16, 17, 18, or 19, or 20, he still would have struck out, even if it didn't make the 24. But Gura will strike out, and that will end the inning. That's what that number means. And that is the 5th strikeout for lefty. So 1 run, 2 hits. Now 2-1 going to the bottom of the 5th. Somebody here can't do math, and I think it's me. So Gura back on the mound. Top of the order for the fighting Phils. Here's Rose. Rose is 1 for 2, singled, and got an extra base on an error. Thank you very much there, Jeffrey Wersler. Thank you very much. I don't mind being corrected, especially if I was definitely wrong. This is a demo game. You guys here are supposed to ask me questions and even correct me if I make a mistake. Okay? Nobody's perfect. So thank you very much there, guys. So Gura will pitch. 8-7. 8-7 is a blank. We'll go to Rose. Charlie Hustle a 1-7. That's just a straight S3. And that's going to be a base hit past first. And Rose gets his 2nd hit of the game. Here's McBride and Groom. And he's 0 for 2. Infield set for double play. See if there's anything happening on the strat. Even though he says you can use the original D20 to roll, even though he says he can use the original D20 to find out what the strategy roll is, I don't mind re-rolling it. That is a 2. Pete Rose has an attempted 2. Gura has a 0 hold. So Pete Rose actually has a chance to steal here. So why not? 12 minus 1 is an 11. So I'm going to let Charlie Hustle steal. He had 12 stolen bases. It's exhibition game. A 1-11, he is safe. And he is. The evil D20 is not rearing its ugly head. So that will be a stolen base for Rose, his first. Takes away the double play. Now we'll try another strat. And nothing on the 4. So Rose will stay put. And we'll have a pitch. Gura, a 2-3. A 2-3 against a lefty strikeout. Against a righty, it's a blank. McBride is a lefty, strikeout. McBride against the lefty is a 10. Minus 1 is a 9. That's a 7. Steer, wreck him out. And that is the 2nd strikeout for Gura. And now here comes Michael Jack Schmidt. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. Greatest third baseman in baseball history. Rose will go ahead and see if anything happening there. Rose is staying where he is. You got to divide by 4 in order to go to third. So now, pretty much, the attempt rating of a runner on second needs to be really at least a 4 or higher to really get to have a chance to get to third with any help, with plus or minus any help from the pitcher. Gura will pitch. An 8-6. An 8-6 against the lefty is an automatic out. Against a righty, it's a blank. Schmidt, of course, was a righty. Schmidt will bat. 7-2. 7-2. Now, 7-2, we have what I call a power hit to left field. Question mark to 7. That's why I call that a power hit. That's a power hit to left field. We now check this and see what happens. Okay, that's a power hit to left. That is an 18. That is an 18. Against the lefty, Schmidt would be a 1-3, a single, 4-7, a double, 8-11, a triple. A 12-17 is a home run. A 12-17 is a home run. It is an 18. He just missed it. Instead, that's going to be a fly out to left. These numbers for pitchers with runners errors on with bases empty or bases occupied only occurs on the batter's home run chance, which is this. So if I rolled to see if it was a home run, okay, from on this chart, and because Mike Schmidt has exclamation points, which means that's not going to get modified. Anything with an exclamation point does not get modified by the pitcher giving up a home run or not, with bases empty or bases occupied. That's where that would take effect. But this is off of this right here, and this is not modified by the pitcher EO. So that would be that is an 18. It is caught on the track. Now, does Pete Rose go to third? So now we'll go ahead. We'll check to see if he goes to third. So we now go back to this chart on a flyout advance. We go to F2 to 3, and now we'll roll to see for Pete Rose to see if he goes to third base. That is a 3-8, and a 3-8 is a 3, and we go all the way down here, and it says hold. So he will hold. So Pete Rose will not go to third base, and that will be the second out. He just missed it. Mike Schmidt just missed it. What a shame. Here's Wheels. Wheels is 0 for 1. Reached on an error and got hit by a pitch. So Rose is still on at second. We'll roll a strategy, and he's staying put. So Gura almost gave up a bad pitch, but Schmidt just missed it. Just got under it by a minute. As Philip Reynolds joins us here at Veterans Stadium. Gura 7-7, and that is a blank. We'll go to Greg. 5-1. A 5-1 on Greg's card is a G4. That's a ground out to second, and that will end the inning. No runs, a hit, and a stolen base. 2-1 after 5 in this demo game. Top of the 6th. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to speed up a little bit. If anything new comes up, I'll stop. So the leadoff batter for the Royals is Willie Wilson. So let's see if we can play at normal speed. Let's see, lefty, 8-2, strikeout 1, swing and a miss, struck him out. They'll get Wilson, and that is the 6th strikeout for lefty, and Wilson does have the hat trick. Here's Underwriters Laboratories. He's 0 for 2. Carlton, 4-1. 4-1, strikeout 6, got him. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Washington's a lefty against, as an 11 against the lefty. -1 is a 10. That's a 6, and he got him. Struck him out. 7th strikeout for lefty. And now here's Mr. Brett. Lefty, 6-8. Walk against the lefty. Brett is a 7, +2 is a 9. That's a 14. It's too high. Brett, a 4-7, and that's a fly out the left, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 go the Royals. We go to the bottom of the 6th. And you see how quick that went? Did you see how quick that went? Just like I was playing regular inside pitch. No difference in speed. I have been practicing the game offline, and I believe I can get the game to the normal speed normally. So my games of inside pitch advance should probably take no more than the hour than my regular games did. Of course, if Philip Reynolds is not in the chat, I should avoid those 18-inning games. Thanks a lot there, Philip. Bottom of the 6th inning. And Gura's going to pitch again. He can pitch to 34. I'm really not going to use – I can use fatigue if I want, but we'll see. Gura he pitched to 34 batters that year. He's probably not going to bat again. So Trio's going to lead off. Bottom of the 6th inning. Gura, an 8-1, and that's a strikeout. 12 is too high. Trio, 8-7, and that's a ground out to third. I love these cards. I really do. These cards actually feel very good in the hand. Here's Maddox. Maddox is 1 for 2 with a single. Gura, 3-1. He's not tired. Strikeout. 20 is too high. Maddox, 8-6, and that's a fly out to center. 2 down. And now here's Boa. Gura, 5-2, and that's a double question mark. Now, we haven't done this yet. A double question mark is what I call a pitcher result, and we go to here. So we now go to here and a double question mark. We haven't had this here. This is now here. Boa is a switch hitter. He's hitting from the right side, so we're going to love this one here. We check the D20. The D20 is a 13. If this was a 1, it would be an error, an automatic error on a drop ball if a play is being made. A 2 to 7 would be an automatic out. An 8 would be a possible home run. That is a 13. It's higher than that, so that becomes a blank. That becomes a blank, and now Boa will get to swing. Boa, a 4-7, and that's a fly to right, and that will be a 1-2-3 inning for Gura. Still 2-1 after 6. Yes, opening day is next Monday night, January 5th, 8 o'clock. Atlanta Braves and Cincinnati Reds. It will be Phil Niekro going up against Frank Pastore at Riverfront Stadium. And not because a lot of people always think the Reds should lead off. That was really the best game I could find for opening day for 1980. And anytime you have a Hall of Famer on the mound, I guess it's okay. So I don't think anybody have a problem with me opening a baseball season with Phil Niekro pitching. I don't think any guys have a problem with Nuxie on the mound. We go to the top of the seventh, and Amos Otis will bat against Lefty. Lefty's got plenty left in the tank. And Otis is 1 for 2. So Carlton will pitch a 2-6. He is not tired. So that's a strikeout for got him. He will get him, and that is strikeout number 8 for Lefty. As I said, for some reason, an inside pitch advance, the pitchers have more control over this game than they do in regular inside pitch. I feel these pitchers have more control. Here's Akins. Akins is 1 for 2 with a single. Carlton, 7-5, and that is a double question mark. We'll go to here. Akins is a lefty. That is a 14. So a 1 is an automatic drop ball. A 2 to 10 would be an out. An 11 to 13 would be a possible home run. That is a 14. That is going to be a blank, and Akins will get to swing. And 8-8 and Akins. Now Akins here has a little greater than sign and a G6. If this was a hit and run, okay, Akins would have a chance to turn that into a hit, and then you'll check the EXE column to see if he executes the hit and run perfectly. But of course, there's nobody on base, so that is ignored, and that is just a ground out to short. They're 2 away. And now here's Wathan. 1980 was Harold Baines' rookie season. He's not a Hall of Famer. Here's Wathan. Wathan is 0 for 2. Carlton, 7-5, and that is, again, a double question mark. We'll go to here. Wathan's a righty, and that is a 20, and as I said, 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 5. The 20 is higher than anything. That is a blank. Wathan will swing, and a 3-2, and that's just a G6 to ground out to short, and that will retire the side. 1, 2, 3, go the Royals, and we have finally reached the 7th inning stretch. Sing, take me out to the ball game. I'll be right back. Our next game will be Monday night, January 5th, the beginning of opening day for the 1980 season. We will be at Riverfront Stadium as the Atlanta Braves take on the Cincinnati Reds. Phil Niekro will be going for the Braves. Frank Pastore will be going for the Reds. It is opening day of the 1980 season, and of course, the return of 10-minute ticker. Which teams will make it to the postseason for the 1980 year? Inside Pitch Advanced, opening day, 1 week from tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Be there or be square. Bottom of the 7th here. Phillies lead 2-1 in this demo game. As I said, we're speeding up a little bit. And Bob Boone leads off for the Phillies. Gura, this is probably going to be his last inning because he is due to bat third. So Gura will go ahead and pitch. And 2-8, and against a righty, a walk. The 15 is too high, just barely. Boone is a 12, plus 2 is a 14. That is a 15. That's too high. Boone will swing. 7-2, and it's going to be a fly to right. So 1 out. Carlton's going to stay on them. It's going to stay in the game. He's going to use pitcher hit card number 5. Carlton will go ahead and stay in. Gura, 7-3, and that is a strikeout. The 17, believe it or not, is too high. Carlton has a strikeout rating of 14. -1 is a 13. He will not strike out. So Gura will go now, and Carlton does not have a K, BIP here. That's blank. So Carlton does get the swing. And that's a 4-2, and he's going to ground it to second, and that will be the second out. 2 outs. Here's Charlie Hustle. Rose is 2 for 3 with 2 singles. Gura, 8-7. That is a blank. Rose, 2-6. And that's a ground out to short. And the inning is done. So 1, 2, 3 go the Phillies. 2-1 after 7. We go to the 8th. And leading off for the Royals will be Clint Hurdle. And he's 1 for 2 with a single. Carlton, a 1-6. Against the lefty, strikeout. 19 is just going to miss. Hurdle, a 3-1. That's a base hit past third. That'll be a single for Hurdle. Hurdle will get a single, his second hit of the game. And that'll bring up White. Infield double play. Strategy roll, and 5, nothing happening. Carlton, 8-2, strikeout, 17 is high. White, 2-6, and that is a power hit to right field. That's a power hit to right field. Again, that is a 6, and against the lefties, that's going to be a base hit. That's going to be a single to right field. So I usually go ahead and put a car on there to let me know that's where the ball was hit to. So it's a single to right. We'll check the chart. So we'll check the chart to see if Hurdle gets the third. We use this one here. So a single to right. We roll here. And that is an 8-1. And 8-1, we're going to have a play. We're going to have a play at third base. We have a play at third base. It was hit to right field. Right fielder for the Phillies is McBride. And Bake McBride, not really good with assists. His assist rating is a D. Is a D. I'll check the D20. It's a 15. We go to here, and a 15. He is going to be safe at third. Okay. Hurdle has a base running rating of 1. You'll check the white die to see if he advances. The white die is a 1. Hurdle will take White has a base running rating of a 5. White will take second on the throw. So it is a base hit to right. Hurdle does make it to third, and White goes to second. That's a big hit. So I'll turn that into a double is what I'll do. And now we're going to see a pinch hitter for Larry Gura. So Gura will come out of the game. And now, how to choose pinch hitters. Chris did something a little differently that not every game does. On the batter cards, okay, he went ahead and put here underneath the batter how many times a player pinch hit or hit against a certain lefty pitcher, a certain arm of a pitcher. So if you want to choose what I'm going to use now, if you want to choose a pinch hitter that would probably have been used for this situation, you can now use this little thing he did. So what I did is I take a look. So Carlton is a lefty. So I'm going to look at the switch hitters and the righties. I'm not going to look at the lefties because, as you know, we usually platoon. Okay. Switch hitters against the lefty was a 0. Torres never pinch hit against the lefty. Manny Castillo did it once, and that is it. Now we'll check the righties. The righties, okay, McRae, okay, batted 4 times against left-handed pitching as a pinch hitter. Chalk 17, Cardinal 5, Bob Detheridge 0, Terrell 1, and Onyx Concepcion 3. Now remember, there wasn't that many pinch hitting done in the American League because they didn't have to worry about the pitcher hitting. Okay, but in the National League, since we're at the National League ballpark, we do that. So McRae, I'm going to go ahead since Dave Chalk pinch hit 17 times. That's the most on this. I'm going to choose Dave Chalk to pinch hit against Carlton. That's a nice little nuance that Chris Davis put in the game to help you choose a pinch hitter, a pinch hitter. So I'm going to use Dave Chalk. He batted .251. All right, and he had 17 pinch hits against left-handed pitching. So I believe Dave Chalk would be probably called up in this situation. Okay, now usually my rule is if it's in the 9th inning or later or something like that, I can bring in anybody. But in this case, I'm going to use Dave Chalk. He'll pinch hit. That's right. McRae was a regular DH. Correct. He was a designated hitter. And since we're at the National League ballpark, McRae is not on the lineup. We're going to call the infield in because we got the tying run at third base. So Carlton is finally in a jam here in the top of the 8th inning. Strategy roll. Nothing on the 4. So Carlton will pitch. And that is a 4-4. A 4-4 against a righty. It's a blank. Chalk will get the swing. Chalk a 3-7, and a 3-7 is a G6. This is a ground ball to short. Now we're going to use the infield in chart. The infield in chart is on here, and we have this right here, the infield in chart. We're going to use the infield in chart. No, we're not doing no double switches. This is an exhibition game. So here we have the infield in chart to decide what's going to happen here at the plate. Usually with nobody out, I use the infield in chart. With 1 out, I use the normal way of infield in, whether I throw to see the runners the other way of running. But since this is nobody out, I like to use the chart. We're going to roll a D20 to see if Clint Hurdle scores. Clint Hurdle's base running rating is a 1. So we go ahead and take a look at this. And his rating is a 1, and we're going to subtract -3 from the D20 roll, and then we'll see what we check here. Now, the ball was hit. The ball was hit to where? Short? The ball was hit to the shortstop. Okay, so we also got to check to see where the ball was hit to. So we're going to roll here a D20 and see what happens. That is a 19. Now, a 19 -3 is a 16. It was hit to short, and we're going to check across the chart, and it says 16 to 17 and all other. Runner on third is safe, and the batter is safe on a fielder's choice. That couldn't have been any better. That was very, very good for Dave Chalk. So the runner is going to score, and Chalk is going to be at first base. So this means that pretty much it was a grounder to short. They tried to get the runner out at the plate, didn't work, and Chalk got ahead and got to first. Since it was hit to short, I still have to roll to see if Frank White gets to third, and he does. So Hurdle scores, and we got to tie it 2. And that's how you use that chart. And still nobody out. So that goes actually as a fielder's choice with an RBI. And still no one out. And we're still going to keep the infield in. So that is that's how you use the chart in that situation. Now the batter is Wilson. So Dave Chalk came in and got a big hit there. And now we're tied at 2 here in the top of the 8th. And now the batter is Wilson. He's 0 for 3. Infield is still in. Strategy roll. That is a 3. Chalk is not going anywhere. So Carlton will pitch. Carlton 4-4, and against against a switch right. That's going to be a blank. Wilson to 8. And that's going to be a base hit to right field, and the Royals are going to take the lead. So White will come in to score. Now let's see if Dave Chalk gets the third. That's a single to right. We'll check this chart. Single to right. And that is a 4-4, and a 4-4 says he holds. So a single to right. Chalk not really very fast, and he will hold at second. And the Royals now have a 3-2 lead on the Phillies. So it looks like Carlton has run out of gas. And now the batter is Washington, and still no one out here in the top of the 8th. So now the Royals have a 3-2 lead, and now Washington the batter. Philly bullpen now warming up. Strategy roll still. Nothing on the 9. Nobody moves. Carlton will pitch. Carlton at 5-3 and strikeout. 19 is high. Washington an 8-1, and that is a power hit to left field. That's a power hit to left. That is a 10. And against the lefty, that is going to be a double to left field. So Chalk will come in to score. That's a double to left. Will that score Wilson? Now we check the chart again. Double to left over here. Double to left. We roll. And that is a 2-3. A double to left says advances if his base running rating is 3-8. Wilson is a 7. He will score 5-2 Royals. And Washington takes second. And it's now 5-2 Royals, and that will be it for Carlton, as he has definitely run out of gas early. Two RBI double for Washington, and Carlton is done. Now for pitchers, he has done everything with pitchers as well, a little bit of things with the pitchers. There's nobody out. I got left, right, left, so I'm going to bring in a lefty. But here you can take a look at the pitchers. He's also done something with the pitchers as well. On the cards for the pitchers, he has something up here, early innings, M, L, and S. This is how many times, this is when the pitcher was brought in. So, like Tug McGraw was never brought in early. He was brought in the middle innings, which would be innings 4 to 6, 11 times. Brought in the late innings 30 times, 7 to 9, and he was asked to save tried to make 14 saves. This is what this is. So this can help you choose which pitcher to bring in if you want. Let's see. So let's see what I'm going to do here. I'm not going to bring in McGraw. It's not a save situation. So I'm going to bring in Sparky Lyle. Yeah, Lyle was a Philly in 1980. So Sparky Lyle will come in to pitch now. Now 5-2 Royals. Oh, by the way, no lead is safe when you play inside pitch advanced. So Lyle will now come into the game. Carlton now leaves with the L. Lyle can pitch to 8 batters. And George Brett will go up against Lyle. So we got Washington on at second. Still no one out in the top of the 8th. How about that? Even in a demo game, we get some excitement. So Lyle will pitch. Strategy rolls are now off. Let's still follow the rule. 8 plus 3 is 11. If it's higher than 10, then you don't use a strategy roll anymore. Although some people have told me they've gone to as high as 11 if you want. So Lyle will pitch. 3-6. Range play at the park. We haven't had that yet, so we'll go to the vet. And 5-7. 5-7 is a triple. Now, 5-7 is a triple to center field. But this is a range play. Who's the center fielder? Well, that is Gary Maddox. His range is a 7. But range plays of 8 are successful for the home team. It's an automatic out. Don't even have to roll. So that becomes a fly out to center just like that. That'll be a fly out to center an automatic range play for Greg Maddux says with the range play rolls of 8 and his range is a 7, I don't have to roll. Does Washington take third, though? Let's see if Washington takes third. 5-8, and a 5-8 is hold. If the arm is a 6 or 5-8, hold. He just holds. Okay. So a 5-8 he holds, and there's one out. So you can see how the home field does get a little bit of a help. So if you're in the field, you have at least a 2 out of 8 chance to make a range play. Even if your range is 1, you roll a 1 or an 8, you're going to make the play if you're the home team. So George Brett cannot believe it, and just for the heck of it, he would have made the range play anyway, so whatever. All right, here's Otis. 1 out now. Lyle, 6-1, strikeout, 9. Got him. They'll get Otis. They'll strike out Otis for out number 2. And now here's Willie Aikens. Aikens is 1 for 3. Lyle, 7-2. Wild pitch. That's a 7. And now we check his card here. So the wild pitches are here. A 1-5 is not. That's a 7. So that's not a wild pitch, but it's a possible pass ball. We'll check the pass ball rating of Boone. And his pass ball rating is a 5. So we roll a 1-5. It's not a pass ball. It's a 2. It's not a pass ball. So now we'll roll off now. So Aikens will get to swing. 6-2, and it's a base hit past second base. 6-2 is a single past second. Washington's base running rating is a 5 with 2 outs, and he will score. So Washington will score from second. That is an RBI single for Aikens, and it is now 6-2 in favor of the Royals. It looked like smooth sailing for Lefty, but didn't pan out to be that way. The RBI single for Aikens. Here is Watson. How do you mean the regular inside pitch seasons? For regular inside pitch, Mike, you're going to see 2025, definitely next year. I don't know yet what he's going to do for regular inside pitch for 1956 or earlier yet. I don't know what he's going to do for that. Right now, I'll be honest with you, Mike, he is concentrating on inside pitch advanced. He is trying to get more seasons for this game. As I said, regular inside pitch is not going anywhere. He will do more seasons for regular inside pitch, but right now he has to get more seasons for this new game as out as he can get. And if he puts regular inside pitch on the back burner for a while, okay, except making the latest season for it, I'll understand. So 2 outs, Lyle will pitch. 4-8, and against a righty walk. 6 is ball 4. He walked him. So right now the Phillies pitching has imploded here. And now the batter is Hurdle. Hurdle is 2 for 3, 2 singles. And the Royals now have a 6-2 lead here in the top of the 8th. Lyle, 4-7. And against the lefty, that is going to be a single. That's going to be an S number. Now, what this means, it's a single automatically, but we checked the D20 to see where it went to. It's a 17, and that's going to be a single into left field. That's going to be a base hit. That changes an F7 into an S7. So that's a base hit to left field. Will that score Aikens? Let's find out. A single to left. Put that there. So single to left to see if he scores. 4-1, and yeah, he will advances plus the trailing runner. So Aikens will score from second. We now check the trailing runner. John Wathan's trailing runner rating, his base running rating is a 5 with 2 outs. Is a 5 with 2 outs. Okay, and the red die is a 4. And the red die is a 4. So this 4 is lower than his rating. Watson will make third. Hurdle, however, will stay at first base. His base running rating is only a 1, so he cannot take second. That one roll only matters on that. As you can see here, advance if red die is less than or equal to trailing runner batter, then they advance. Trailing runner can include the batter. So it is now 7-2 Royals. And right now, the fans here at Veterans Stadium are wondering what the hell's going on. As the Royals have put a 5 spot on the Phillies in this inning. And now the batter is White. And still only 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. White is 2 for 3, a single and a double. And Lyle's going to pitch. It's an exhibition game, so who knows. So Lyle will deal. And 1-1, and he's not tired. He's not tired. That's going to be an automatic out, and that is a 1, and that will be a fly to center, and that will finally end the inning. So 6 runs on 6 hits, a walk, and it's now 7-2 going in the bottom of the 8th as the Royals have completely stunned the Philly crowd here at the Vet. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Bake McBride will lead off for the Phillies. He's 0 for 3. Remember in that other exhibition game I had, the Phillies were down by so much and they came back and won that game 12-11 in that other exhibition game. So I guess the Royals are trying to get a little revenge for that one. Royals need a pitcher. And let's see, they got left, right coming up. So the Royals are going to bring in a righty to pitch. And they're not going to bring in Quisenberry. They're going to bring in Marty Patton. So Marty Patton will come in for the Royals, and he can pitch to 11. We'll see. He may try to finish the game out. We'll see. So Marty Patton will pitch, and we're bottom of the 8th inning. So 7-2 Royals, and now McBride is the batter. Cutter historically. I think he can dig this game, even though he played mostly PC games. Craig Scarborough is working on a PC type game for this. It's not out yet, but we will. But he is working on something special. So wait to see he releases it. I'm looking forward to seeing it up. Patton, a 2-8, and against the lefty, walk 16 is high. McBride, a 5-1, and he leads off with a triple to right. Nick McBride, a 5-1, is a T9. He leads off with a triple into right field. And now the batter is Michael Jack Schmidt. The Royals have a 5-run lead. They're looking for outs, so they're going to play the infield back. Strategy rolls are off. Patton, 5-2, strikeout. Got him. They'll get Schmidt. First strikeout for Patton. And now here's Wheels. Lozinski is 0 for 2, but got hit by a pitch. Patton, 7-3. An error on a throw. All right. Lozinski, a 3-1. And that's going to be a double to center field. Lozinski's going to have a double to center field. Now, McBride is going to score. There's not going to be anybody on base. So I got to now a center fielder for the Royals is Otis. His error rating is a 7. That's a 16. There's not going to be a throwing error anyway. And it's now 7-3. As Lozinski now gets a double and brings in a run. RBI double for Lozinski. And now here's Trio. 1 out, bottom of the 8th. Now a 7-3 Royal lead. Patton, 3-1. It's a blank. Trio, 8-2. And that's a ground out to short. Picked up there by UL Washington. They'll throw to first for the out. And Lozinski is staying where he is. 2 down. Here's Maddox. Maddox is 1 for 3 with a single. Patton will pitch. 3-5 against a righty. Strikeout. 20 is high. Maddox, 4-5, and that's a ground ball to second base. That'll get picked up by Frank White. He'll throw to first, retire the side. 1 run, 2 hits. It's now 7-3 after 8. We go to the 9th. You see a new pitcher here for the Phillies. Why not? Pinch hitter coming in for the Royals. Marty Patton will not bat. So let's see who the Phillies want to bring on. And they got 2 switch hitters after this. So I'm going to go with... I'm going to bring in a righty for the Phillies. And I think that's going to be Ron Reed. So Lyle coming out of the game, and Ron Reed will pitch for the Phillies. So he'll come on to pitch. And we'll see a pinch hitter for Patton. Ron Reed is a righty. So let's see who the Royals want to bring on here. And let's see. 1-1-0. Let's see. Switch. I don't know. Let's see. Porter, 3. Quirk, 15. Lecoq, 13. Braun, 13. Mullenix, 0. Let's bring in Pete Lecoq. Pete Lecoq. He'll go ahead and Peter Marshall's kid. Pete Lecoq. He will pinch hit against Ron Reed as we start the top of the 9th. So Reed will pitch. 5-8, and that's a range play 13. The 17 is not the 17 is too high, so it's not a range play. Lecoq, 7-1, and that's going to be a ground out to short. If that was a 13 or lower, I would have had to roll to see if the shortstop makes a range play, but it is not a range play since it was higher than Rod Reed's 13. Here's Wilson, 1 out. Reed, 5-1. Against the switch left. That's going to be a base hit, and that's going to be a single into center field. Now, I'll show you the reason why. So a 5-1 here is a split. Against the righty, it'd be an automatic out. Against the lefty, it says S with the number. So this is a base hit, and we check the D20. That is a 1, and the 1 is here. So that becomes, instead of a fly out to center, that becomes a single to center field. So Wilson does get a base hit, and that is Wilson's second hit of the ball game. And now here's Underwriters Laboratories. Infield a double play. No strategy rolls. Reed, 2-2. Blank. Washington, 5-3. And that's a fly out to center. 2 down. And now here's Mr. Brett. George Brett had a .390 batting average in 1980. He's 0 for 4 tonight. He has yet to get a hit. He is 0 for 4. Reed will pitch. Reed, 3-2. Strikeout, 14 is high. Brett, 6-8, and he will get a base hit. That's a single past second. So Brett will finally get a hit. Willie Wilson's base running rating is a 7, and he will definitely make third. Actually, it's an 8, so with 2 outs. So Brett finally gets a hit. Runners at first and third, and now the batter is Otis. So 2 down. Wilson on at third, Brett on at first, 2 outs. Ron Reed, the pitcher for the Phillies. Reed, an 8-7. Strikeout, 5. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. And that will end the inning. No runs, 2 hits for the Royals. They have a 7-3 lead. But will we see some 9th inning magic in this demo game? Greg Scarborough said I should have brought in Quisenberry. Well, I didn't want to bring him in just yet, but now I will. So coming on to try to close the game for the Kansas City Royals will be Dan Quisenberry, one of the greatest names in baseball history. The Quiz. He will come on to pitch. And Larry Boa will lead off. Boa is 2 for 3 with 2 singles. The fans here at Veterans Stadium hoping for something in this demo game. Quisenberry will pitch. 4-3, that is a blank. Boa, 8-2, and that's a fly to left. That'll be taken care of there by Wilson. And that is 1 out. Here's Boone. Boone is 0 for 2 with a walk. Quisenberry, 2-8. It's a blank. Boone, he's got a lot. I know he's got a lot of auto outs. They're all grounders. 3-4 for Boone, and that is with no runners in scoring position. Now, Boone has an N01, an N automatic out 1. With no runners in scoring position, this is an automatic out. But now we got to see if Quisenberry, there are no runners in scoring position. Now we see if Quisenberry keeps that an out or that becomes a hit. So now with no runners on base, his N rating is a 7. That is a 1. It will stay the same. So that will still be an automatic out. It'll be a ground ball to third, and there are 2 outs. If that was an 8 or higher, okay, this 1, all right, that 1 would, instead of being a G5, would have been an S5. That would have been a single past third. So there are 2 down, and we'll see a pinch hitter for Ron Reed as he is done. And the Phillies will bring on a pinch hitter. Got a righty on the mound, so they're going to go with Gross batted 48 times, pinch hit against 48 times. Unser, 48. Vukovic, 49. Who has the best average? That'd be Del Unser. Del Unser is going to come on to pinch hit. I like that. That now actually makes it a little bit easier for me and maybe a little more realistic to choose pinch hitters, especially in the National League. The American League will also make it easier as well. So here is Del Unser, and he's 0 for 3. Am I wrong, or did he recently pass away? Did he pass away, Del Unser, or am I thinking of somebody else? No, I'm thinking of somebody else. He's still alive. He's 81 years old. Okay, never mind. He's 81 years old. He's still alive. I'm thinking of somebody else. I know somebody. Well, it was Andy Costco who passed away, right? Andy Costco recently passed away. But Del Unser is still alive. He's 81. Okay. Quisenberry is trying to close the game for the Royals. 6-1 against the lefty. It's a blank. Unser. 2-4. And it's going to be a line drive right to first. Akins puts up the glove. Pow! That's your game. The Royals will go ahead and beat the Phillies tonight with a 6-run 8. And they win it tonight 7-3. Stadium groans. So the Kansas City Royals will win this game 7-3 in a big comeback for the demo game for the 1980 season. Final line score, Royals, 7 runs, 12 hits, 3 errors. For the Phillies, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. The winning pitcher, believe it or not, is going to be Gura. Gura is actually going to be the winning pitcher because Patton came in to the bottom of the 8th. Carlton's going to get the loss. No save for Quisenberry, but I will give him no save for Quisenberry and no holds for Patton because a run came in, but I'll give Quisenberry a hold. So that is your Inside Pitch Advanced demo game. And yes, VDub Productions, you missed it. But you can watch it on a replay. So that is Inside Pitch Advanced. I'm really looking forward to starting this season next Monday with the Braves and the Reds. Now, before I close, does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions concerning game mechanics or anything like that? Pretty much saw everything tonight. You actually pretty much saw everything. You saw runners in scoring position, runners in no scoring position. The only thing you didn't see was a home run. We did not see a home run possibility off the pitcher where the pitcher could add home run chances for a batter or subtract home run chances. We didn't see that. We did see 3 errors, but the Royals really were not that great a fielding team that year. We did see pitcher hitting cards. We saw errors. We saw, we saw how hit and runs work. We saw how stealing works. We saw how bunting works. We pretty much got to see everything in the ball game. We pretty much got to see almost everything it could see an inside pitch advanced compared to regular inside pitch. So, again, does anybody have, any questions at all concerning what you've seen or anything? I'm looking forward to starting the 1980 season. I'm looking forward to playing this game for the rest of, for as long as I can keep on doing this crazy stuff, because I'll only be doing inside pitch advance from now on, unless, of course, because Chris said he should be able to create any season I need him to from 1944 to today. So whatever season comes up after the next selection show, we'll know. He'll and you guys vote or dice. We'll see what season that is. So, and 1980, I think, is going to be a fantastic year to play. Unfortunately, my Mets stunk that year, so my Mets aren't going to really figure, I think. 10-minute ticker comes back, of course. So we're back to rolling dice for 10-minute ticker. And we'll see what happens, right? So, again, does anybody have any questions at all? 10 seconds to see if anybody wants to chat or no. Going once, going twice. We are sold. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Please leave a like on your way out the turnstiles. Subscribe if you've not done so, and make sure you hit the bell. Remember, next Monday night at 8 o'clock, the 1980 season of Inside Pitch Advanced. Opening day, the Atlanta Braves versus the Cincinnati Reds at Riverfront Stadium. Phil Niekro will go for the Braves. Frank Pastore will go for the Reds. It is opening day. Another great season of Inside Pitch begins. Be there or be square. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay strong. We'll see you guys next Monday night. The Kansas City Royals will claim victory in the demo game against the Philadelphia Phillies. They win it tonight, 7-3. Have a good night, everyone. Happy New Year, of course, to everyone out there, because the New Year is this week. So Happy New Year to all of you out there, and we will see you, next year. Have a good night, everyone.